The Unity Meta SDK is a great tool to quickly get a prototype up and running, but sometimes there can be some issues setting it up. So this video will go over the basics on how to set up the Meta SDK for Unity, and it will also go into detail on which building blocks to use for which features. So next to this video there also is a GitHub page. You can find it in the description below. And if you want to start out a project with this, just click code, download zip, and you can start from here. It should have everything set up, and if you make a build, you can just use it in Unity. For which Unity version to use, I recommend the latest Unity LTS version. Right now that's 6.0.63. 6.2.14 does have some additional updates and some more features, but it also might have more issues down the line. So just try to use 6.0 for now, and if you absolutely need it, then you can switch to 6.2. If you do use 6.2, make sure to use the Meta Quest build profile instead of the Android one. Other than that, the setup is exactly the same. So when we open our project, here you can see I use the Meta SDK, and for ease of use, I picked the all-in-one SDK. Of course, if you do not need certain things like Haptics or the Voice SDK, you can install everyone separately. But for me, it's just easier to use the all-in-one SDK. Also, everything is here set up for the XR plugin management using OpenXR. So that is also good. And everything is up to date here. I got a few scenes set up. So one of them is a simple mixed reality scene. And right now I got it set up with a bread you can grab. And here in these scenes, there's also a virtual reality scene, which is purely in VR without any additional content. So you can really load it in whatever you need. And it should support hand tracking and controller tracking out of the box, so you can use whatever you want very easily. Now let's get started into the building blocks, which is the main thing of the Meta SDK, which is really nice to get started in a project. So we are just going to create a new scene, so I can show you how to build a new scene if you need it. And we just delete the main camera for now, since we will be adding that later. I'll just go through all the building blocks, and this I think is sorted by most popular, which is probably fine. First of all, you always need a camera rig. This is basically what renders anything through the screen, and that's probably the basics of what you need. Then if you want pass-through, so mixed reality, you just drag and drop the pass-through in, and this is so you can see the real world through the cameras on the Quest 3, and also the Quest 3S and Quest 2 in black and white. So if you want anything mixed reality, definitely add pass-through. You can also make a surface projected pass-through, so this makes sure there is a plane in a 3D environment. And if you look at it, you can see through that as if it were a window. So this is a window from a digital world onto the real world. You've got eye gaze, which is, as it says, where you are looking. The Quest 3 doesn't have eye tracking, so it is kind of emulated on the Quest 3. But this should work on the Quest Pro as well if you're using eye tracking. If you want controller tracking, you drag it in. If you want hand tracking, you can drag that in. The Anchor Prefab Spawner... The Anchor Prefab Spawner is a system to add anchors onto your scene. This shouldn't be necessary if you have a small project, but if you want to have stuff that is in your app persistently, you do need the anchor system. Auto matchmaking is for multiplayer. Again, that's for bigger projects. Make sure what you're doing before diving into this. And this is basically a system to connect you to other people when you have multiplayer games. Collocation is something similar, but instead of being online, this is local. So if you have multiple players in mixed reality, or probably even virtual reality, the headsets can connect together if they're on the same network, and you can see the same objects in mixed reality that the other person is seeing, and you can kind of like share the space and interact with each other. For the auto matchmaking, you also have custom matchmaking and friends matchmaking. Friends, of course, using the friend system of the Meta SDK, and custom meaning you are doing it yourself. I'm not going to dive into multiplayer that much since that's a whole different topic, and right now we're just gonna be focusing on setting up your experience and making sure everything is running and has basic interaction support. Dictation is very nice. This is a system to record your voice and automatically generate text from it with some simple Unity events. This is one I've used a lot, and it uses Wit AI in the background, and it's very nice. And right here you can see it's a custom app, and you can put it in quite some languages, so Dutch, English, that's all there. And you need to paste your Wit AI server access token here. It's all fairly easy to set up. Just follow the Meta guide on how to set it up, and then it should be quite easy and good to go. You have two interactions. So one is a grab interaction where you just really grab the object, and you have distance grab where you can grab it from a distance. If you want to go from here, you can just drag it into your scene. You can here select how you want to interact with it, which is really nice. I just want to snap it to my hand, confirm, and there's a cube in here in the scene, which is interactable. This is very easy to get started. And if you want, you can change the material. You can here change the mesh to, for example, the bread. And now there should be a loaf somewhere, just really small. A nice blue loaf. And this is very easy, again, to get started and to have a very simple interaction in there. I will also show how to load in interactions after the effect, which is a workflow that I prefer. If you want to have very nice haptics, you can drag that in. And again, it's just as simple as dragging it into the scene. It adds it, and you can control everything from the settings here. You can also all do this via code, of course. You have instant content placement, and this is if, for example, your scene detects a table, that it can automatically place objects onto the table or has a table placed there for you, like a digital table. That's all there. Local multiplayer is for multiplayer, but then locally. It's not exactly the same as the collocation, since you won't be seeing the exact same content at the same place. But you can play then with multiple people in the same room or in the same building. Networked avatars, so you can see your friends and their meta avatars. The network grabbable object is a grabbable object, but then being networked, so other people can also see you use it. A player name tag speaks for itself. It's the tag that you have for players. You can have voice chat if you have multiplayer. You have poke interactions, and this is really nice for making UI. Samples if you want to integrate this. You got a Ray Interactable, which is basically a distance-based interaction. You got spatial audio, so the audio is fully 3D around you. And also this adds some reverb and stuff like that into 3D games. You can have a teleport system, which is quite nice. You have text-to-speech, so this takes in text and then can generate an AI voice. You got touch hand grab, which is basically your hands are physical. So if there's a table with cubes, you can move your hand over it and it will knock over the cubes. There's effect mesh. This is a system to load in content based on your surroundings. So if you scan your surroundings, you can, for example, spawn cubes over a table, for example, for interactions and physics. You can find spawn positions, and this is if you have a prefab of a small cube, it will detect based on your scene and your surroundings where that cube can be placed and place it for you. You have right here the room guardian, and this is a system so you can see where you can move and to interact with that. A scene debugger, which I personally haven't used that much, but it probably adds some more visual data. Real hands, which is basically if you drag this in, it will be a complete mixed reality experience where you can see your real hands with an overlay. So that's really nice. There's occlusion, which is something really nice. So you have like, if there's a digital object behind the table, then you cannot see that digital object anymore because the table occludes it. If you want to have really detailed interactions, this one is really nice. You have the scene mesh. This is basically the 3D model of your surroundings. This is really nice if you want to have interactions with the real world or maybe collisions and stuff like that. There's a really nice tool with a controller button mapper, and this can go into detail which button does what and give a visual indication to the user what it is. You have shared spatial anchors, and this is just a spatial anchor which is shared across multiple people, and it can also probably be persistent so it loads on the next one as well. There's a pass-through window. This is similar to the one at the top. The projected pass-through is just onto an object which can also be 3D. You got a simple spatial anchor controller, and this is a system to place spatial anchors. So if you want to do that and want to have stuff persistently loaded in your scenes across play sessions, then this is a really nice way to get started. And this is the spatial anchor core. You just have to integrate this into your scene. If you're using the spatial anchor controller or anything else, it will automatically add the spatial anchor core, and it's the same for anything else. So if there's anything required, right here you can see in the scene currently we don't have the spatial anchor core and also not the bottom mapper, and that is required. So when you do drag this into your scene, it automatically adds everything you need. So this is just a very easy way to get up and running. Now lastly, with our beautiful scene, I want to show you how to add interactions to 3D models. Since I really like to just drag a model in here, it's now in the scene, this beautiful bread, and I want to make this interactable. And it is quite confusing if you add components, you need to add quite some in order to get this working, but luckily there is a very easy way. If you right click this, go to Interaction SDK, and add an interaction you want. So this could be a grab interaction, ray grab, or distance grab. For us, it's just a regular grab. It will tell you all the issues that are there. So it doesn't have a rigid body. We fixed it. It is added. It has a Grabable script. There we go. And right here, you can change the settings as well. We create it, and now it is interactable. Currently, if you grab it and let go of it, it will just stay there. If you want to have it to have physics and drop to the ground, you need to disable the is kinematic checkbox. If this is disabled, this object is fully physics-based and you can throw it around as much as you need, which can also be quite fun. So I hope this very quick overview was helpful, and if the sample project is helpful, if there are any questions, you can let me know in the comments. You can message me pretty much anywhere or join the Discord, where I can gladly help you out. That said, I hope I can see you in the next videos as well.